Welcome back in to another live edition of the Viking Central podcast. I'm here as usual with Austin. Austin, busy day. How's it been going?
It's going pretty good. It's been hard to get anything done with all this news going on. Just trying to soak it all in.
Yeah, that's honestly what I've been kind of doing too. I kind of talked to you a little bit before. I'm like, I haven't got much done for work, but you know, it's an exciting time. Like if you're a football fan, it's just so fun with all the speculation and all the new players being added to your team, especially this morning it was just like a barrage, like boom, 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 boom of signings. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. But before we talk too much about, well, we're going to talk about the quarterback position, but I'm sure we'll talk about some other things as well. Do want to shout out our sponsor, Stead Foods. You see the link down there, steadfoods.com/Viking Central. Use that code VC10 for 10% off your order. Here's a word about Stead Foods real quick. Check out Stead Foods, a Minnesota-based candy company specialized in delicious chocolate bars. They have something for everyone, and of course, my personal favorite, caramel crack, will keep you coming back for more. It is just super delicious. Use code VC10 for 10% off and use the link on the screen or in the description. Again, use code VC10 for 10% off and use the link on the screen or in the description. All right, so we were live this morning talking about all of the signings and kind of just the flurry of things that were coming in. And of course, as soon as we hit end, Daniel Jones gets signed to the Colts. Per usual, it's always how it happens. So we'll probably hop off here and we'll have some other news that'll break. But just your initial thoughts, Daniel Jones to the Colts.
Yeah, Daniel Jones of the Colts. That's a weird situation, especially with Rap reporting that we had a similar offer to him as well. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe Daniel Jones fears sitting behind JJ might hurt him. So, because I don't think that Daniel Jones wins that job against JJ McCarthy, and maybe he feels he can win the job in some sort of capacity in Indianapolis. So, well, good for him. We're always root for him. He came in and was a good team player for the last part of the season last year. So, I think that he made the wrong decision, but hopefully for his sake that I'm wrong.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this. We did a separate video on YouTube. If you don't subscribe to us on YouTube, Viking Central, go find us over there. That'd be awesome. But we talked about it a little bit and just the fact that, yeah, he goes to the Colts, might have a better opportunity to play this year. But say he kind of shits the bed a little bit this year, his days of like an opportunity at being a starter are probably over. He's probably a career backup after that if it just doesn't work out in Indianapolis. Staying in Minnesota for one more year would probably lengthen his career a little bit. Even if he doesn't start this year, the free agency class for the quarterback position is not that strong again next year. Now the draft class is a little stronger, but just being in the system for a year with Kevin O'Connell, Kevin has a lot of great contacts all around the NFL. Like he could talk him up next year. He probably would have got a similar deal or even a better deal. Even if he didn't end up playing in 2025, just from being in this system for another year. And then again, a week free agency class. So I agree. I don't think he made the right decision, but he's kind of betting on himself a little bit that he can go beat Anthony Richardson and be, at least solid in the system. Because if he does have a solid year, he'll get an opportunity to get paid again next offseason. But, just the opportunity to be in this system again, I think would have been hard to pass up, especially when the money was very similar. It's not like they outbid us by, $6, $7, $8 million. So it's just kind of interesting that he did go that route. But hey, like you said, cheer him on, see what happens. But the opportunity probably would have been a little bit better here, in my opinion. But now that Daniel Jones is gone, I know there's going to be Aaron Rodgers talk until he's signed somewhere else. What are some other, quarterback options, specifically backup quarterback options that you could see kind of coming in behind JJ McCarthy?
Oh yeah, I think there's a lot of options here, and like with a lot of money that I think is actually freed up with the sense that all these deals that we were seeing, not all fully guaranteed deals. Because even like Byron Murphy's only guaranteed like 35 million. So I think that's a good deal for the Vikings. But with that being said, we have money the go for the backup quarterback. So like someone like Gardner Minshew, who has had some starter starting reps in multiple places. He has shown a little success. I think just his veteran presence could be a good fit for the Vikings. But then you go and look, and there's a Jameis Winston's out there known to be good locker room guys, just like that. And Marcus Mariota, I think, is going to be a favorite around here. I fear a left-handed quarterback being in the backup role, but I think all three of these quarterbacks are viable options.
Yeah, no, I agree. I could really see the Marcus Mariota one coming in and just being a really solid backup. Could be a spot guy if he needs to come in and play a game or two. I think Doogie reported this earlier, but I think he got some fans here at TCO. A couple other options is like Mac Jones. I know people don't love that name, but like it's kind of going back to that QB rehabilitation with Kevin O'Connell a little bit. Former high draft pick. Probably not going to compete for the starting job, but just to be able to be in the system again and get those mental reps and getting the reps and being in a very good offensive scheme would be big for Mac Jones. So I could see that one kind of being a little bit interesting. Trey Lance is always a fun name in Minnesota. I don't know if I could see it happening. He's just very inaccurate, but I could see maybe Minnesota being interested. He's got all the intangibles and everything like that they look for. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who exactly they pinpoint. But they're not going to be paying 12, 13, 14 million dollars for a backup anymore. That was Daniel Jones probably only. It's probably going to be in that 4 or 5, 6 million range, which is fine. But it's really going to point towards JJ McCarthy being the starter. And it sounds like Aaron Rodgers probably to the Steelers. I know there's been some rumors, and then I think it was Michael Silver that went on and said there's been some interesting conversations going on in the Vikings front office. Maybe there is, but I just don't see it happening. And Dan Graziano just had a report that Rodgers kind of wants to come to Minnesota, and they would hope it would turn that way, but they're not. It doesn't look like there's any interest there so far anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Aaron Rodgers, why wouldn't you want to come into this situation? We have a situation fit perfect for a quarterback, so I could see where the interest is there on his end. I just think everyone in the building and TCO thinks that it's the JJ McCarthy's time, like you were saying. Yeah. Fun name with Trey Lance there. I just fear he couldn't even win the job down in Dallas down there. That's my biggest fear with him. No. Cooper Rush was able to hold on to that job even with all the injuries they had down there. So that's what scares me with him, like with his inaccuracy problems. But another fun way to go about this maybe is a low draft pick, because I've seen KOC's been really into looking at the quarterbacks and stuff like that. So maybe a low end draft pick to back up JJ. Maybe this is maybe one of the more fun ones. Max Brosmer out of Minnesota, for sure, getting a lot of love. I think that could be a fun low round pick that could turn out into being, maybe develop him and being a backup role.
Yeah, I could see that. And maybe they won't be super confident with the backup this year, but they did re-sign Brett Ripien, so he could be the backup for a year or two, and then you just, like you said, develop Brosmer into being the backup, because I've heard that as well. Like teams are high on him to be like a high-end backup just because he's so smart. He's pretty accurate with the football. Doesn't have like a ton of like physical intangibles and all that kind of stuff, but he just has what it takes to make it in the league. So I could definitely see that for sure. And another thing I kind of want to talk about does not totally pertain to the quarterback, but we're starting to get some cap numbers from some of these contracts, and those 2025 cap hits are super low. Like now there's a couple more to kind of factor into it, but it looks like after all these signings go through, the Vikings are still going to have like $25 to $30 million in cap space for 2025, which is kind of insane just from the quality of players they got. But like there's still some cap room to play with. So, those names that we kind of talked about earlier, is there like a Cooper Kupp still coming in? Is there another guard coming in like a Kevin Zeitler or, a Tevin Jenkins even? That's another kind of interesting dynamic coming in, because we still got cap room to play with. I mean, they're not going to use it all, but there's still kind of room to sign another guy.
Yeah, for sure. And with the guard market, another cool name in the guard market is Mekhi Becton. He really hasn't. He's been getting interest from everywhere around the league. He might be a little too steep on the cap hit, but he had a great season moving the guard going over to Philadelphia. So that's another one to keep an eye on because I've heard a lot of people in Philadelphia want to keep him in the room. So I think he would be great in the run blocking game, and big body at the guard. He would also do a great job in pass pro.
Yeah. Just imagine if he got Becton. I know he doesn't. There's been, talk about our new assistant offensive line coach. They don't get along too well, but like, just imagine Mekhi Becton on this off. You know how massive our offensive line would be with a 6'6" Ryan Kelly, Mekhi Becton. Will Fries is no small fry. He's huge. And then you got Darisaw and O'Neal on the edges. Like, that would be just massive. My goodness. They'd be plowing lanes for their running game and protecting JJ McCarthy. I would be a big fan right here. No doubt about it. I'm just trying to think of anything else. We talked about the quarterback a little bit. That's another domino. The one domino that fell was Daniel Jones, but nothing else has really happened after that. I thought there'd be some more quarterback signings kind of directly after that. Nothing else has really happened. Just checking Twitter here a little bit.
Yeah, me too. I think that's what scares me with the Aaron Rodgers thing, the fact that we did save a lot in cap space for the 2025 coming up. So I wouldn't put that out of the realm of possibilities, and it honestly could be a little fun, but I think everyone in the state of Minnesota is itching to see what JJ McCarthy can do. We saw that one preseason game. We saw his ability to work the field and work with all the receivers, get everyone the ball, and like we were saying with this offensive line, JJ McCarthy is great in the play action, and that's going to be huge looking forward. I think that Aaron Jones is primed for another big season, and then hopefully with another running back joining him through the draft, ideally.
Yeah, and this Aaron Rodgers talk will kind of stay consistent until he signs somewhere else. It's just the way it is. It's the speculation. There's always talk about the quarterback drama in Minnesota. It's always something about the quarterback.
And yeah, we love our older quarterbacks too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I want them to move along to JJ McCarthy, because if everything goes right, you don't have to worry about any more quarterback talk for 4 years until he's up for an extension. Of course, then we got to talk about that a little bit. But like, it's time to move on. Like, just get your long-term guy. I mean, Aaron Rodgers would be another stopgap for a year, even if you'd make it a year. Who knows? Yeah. And it's just time, in my opinion. All the stars are aligning to just throw in this guy, and he's got everything set in stone for him. Great wide receiver core, good running back, good offensive line now, and a great defense to lean his hat on a little bit. It's time, in my opinion. But like I said, the talk's gonna continue.
And then, if Kirk Cousins, even if he gets released, that's another one to where I don't think there's a whole lot of starting opportunity out there. So I could see him coming in on a 1-year deal as well, just come into a system that he is familiar with, and then just get more healthy and get ready for the 2026 free agent pool.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. And I'm just looking here. Ben Gosling, reporter for the Vikings. So you look at all like the Vikings deals kind of after everything. He's guessing that the Vikings still have $30 to $35 million in cap space, which is it just blows my mind still. Just like, I don't know how. And that just shows you that Rob Brzezinski and Kwesi are just super calculated in what they do. And they're just trying to build out this roster, which I feel like they've done a great job doing. I'm going to make a kind of a prediction here, and maybe you can make one too. But I think by noon, or not noon tomorrow, I'm going to say by the end of the workday tomorrow, Cooper Kupp is going to be a Viking. That's my prediction. It's not probably super hot because the connection's there. And they were talking about it on KFan, like there is mutual interest. There is actually mutual interest between Cooper Kupp and the Vikings. And they have the money to do it. So that's kind of my prediction.
I think it's just a matter of how much you want to pay a wide receiver 3, and is what my thought process is on that. It's because I think Cooper Kupp's going to get a lot of interest from a lot of teams because he does have it out there. That just feels like a Jerry Jones play to go after Cooper Kupp and overpay for aging receiver, because they haven't made a lot of moves down there, and I just feel their fan base is pushing for something, and a big name like Cooper Kupp could be a big play in Dallas. But yeah, that would be a big play, and unfortunately, we had videos about it talking about Adam Thielen, hoping for that, but nothing's really caught fire because, like we were saying, he's a great locker room presence for a young quarterback in Bryce Young, and he still has the juice left in him in a kind of a weak division down there with them making a lot of moves. I think Carolina could be a team to reckon with too in the South.
No doubt about it. All right, so Bison, Minnesota sports fan says spend the money on either cornerback or safety unless the plan is to address it in the draft. I could see them waiting for safety in the draft because that market, I don't think there's a ton of like free agents right now in the safety market that's going to come in and just be a for sure starter. Now cornerback, I'd be interested in Asante Samuel Jr. Coming in.
Yeah.
That seems like a Kwesi contract right there. Just give him like a 1 or 2 year deal. He's coming off an injury, but like he's shown a lot of potential, and I think he'd be really good with Brian Flores. Cornerback is still a little bit of a need, depending on what they feel about Mekhi Blackman, but they need some depth there. I think that'd be a really good signing, just Asante Samuel Jr. I don't think he'd be super expensive at this point either, so that'd be interesting, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. He'd be a good cheap option for the Vikings to look into, especially not knowing where Blackman sits. But yeah, I do think that the Vikings are really high on Blackman, and I think if he didn't get hurt in training camp, I believe he would have had a pretty big role in this team last year. And I think they expect him to have a similar role. He's going to play a big part, being that other cornerback, being a kind of a bigger body. He can play physical, and he can cover over the top very well.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it'd be a great signing. Just that, low risk, high reward type of signing that Kwesi loves to do. We've seen a bunch from him, but I do got to run, got to pick up the kiddo. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're over 1,000 on here again, and I'm sure we'll be on maybe later tonight or maybe tomorrow. Just waiting on that Aaron Rodgers news more than anything right now. I feel like that's kind of what I am. There could be another signing here. Vikings, again, they still got some cap room to play with, believe it or not. Stead Foods is our sponsor. So you see the link down there, steadfoods.com/Viking Central. Use code VC10 for 10% off. One of the best way to support us. Find us on YouTube. I know a majority of you are coming over from X. Follow us on there, but find us on YouTube at Viking Central as well. Just throwing out some videos here and then over there. Austin, pleasure having you on. I appreciate it. Skol Vikings. We'll talk soon, guys.